Could I have your attention, please? I'd like to go ahead and bring this regular City Commission meeting to order, March 24th, 2025. Would you please stand for the invocation, and that's a moment of silence, and stay standing for the pledge. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. And if you have a cell phone, would you please turn it off or turn it down? And if you need to make a phone call, please go out in the lobby. Thank you. With that, we need approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve of reading proposed ordinance and resolutions by title only.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Special presentations. 2025 Great American Cleanup Proclamation.
Thank you. Let's start over. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and Madam City Attorney. My name is Michael Carrillo, Public Services Director for the City of Alachua. The City of Alachua is seeking help to beautify our community by participating in our local Great American Cleanup event scheduled for Saturday, May 3rd. The Great American Cleanup is the country's largest community improvement program that kicks off in more than 20,000 communities each spring. This program is designed to discourage littering, improve recycling, and beautify our community. We encourage volunteers to participate in our local cleanup. Last year, we completed the following projects: Town Center beautification flower beds, cleanup litter at Criswell Park and Hip Way, tire roundup, very popular by the way, APD flower planting. We pruned Bradford pear trees and cleaned up litter at Mill Creek Wetland Park. We collected 14 bags of trash. We planted 203 flowers and pruned 12 Bradford pear trees. This year, we will begin at 8:30 a.m. at City Hall with breakfast being provided. Trash bags, safety vests, gloves, maps, and instructions for the cleanup will also be provided. The event will conclude by noon. By aligning with both organizational and personal passions, we continue to make a difference. The recommended action is for the mayor to read the proclamation.
Whereas Keep Alachua County Beautiful annually coordinates a Great American Cleanup for Alachua County and all municipalities located within Alachua County to clean and beautify our community. Whereas the City Commission of the City of Alachua, Florida, recognizes the benefits participation in the Great American Cleanup and desires to publicly recognize the event and request community support. Now I therefore give Kerber Mayor of the City of Alachua, Florida, by virtue of the authority invested in me, I do here proclaim May 3rd, 2025 as Great American Cleanup Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
With that, we'd like to go to comments. First round of comments on citizens of subject of choice not on the agenda. If you can't do it this time and you'd like to do it next time, we have a round two. Please state your name for the record.
Am I recognized, Mr. Mayor?
I can recognize you.
Thank you. My name's Tamara Robbins, Mayor, Commissioners, staff. I wish you would have taken comments on that proclamation because my comments are actually on that, the Great American Cleanup. So I'm going to comment on it because you didn't take public comment on it. The Bradford pears that you are so insistent on planting in this city are invasive species. They stink, and there is no local nursery in this area that will even grow them. Well, less they don't sell them and they won't grow them. So my daughter has a degree in horticultural sciences, and she works for a local nursery, and said that there were city employees that were out there looking for the Bradford pears. And they said, no, we don't sell those. They're an invasive species. Other states have outlawed them. They don't even allow them to be planted because they're disgusting. They have disease and they stink. And so apparently the city staff is being sent around the area to as far as Georgia to find Bradford pears. So apparently you guys don't know cell phones. So I'd like to know more about that. You need to stop planting Bradford pears. They die, they have disease, they're invasive. Plant something that provides shade, that doesn't stink, and that is a tree worthy of sustainability. Okay? Just saying. And the Kuntis downtown, you guys talk about beautifying for landscaping. You know what Kunti is? Does anybody know what a Kunti is? It's the plants that are in the medians that look like a little palm. Those should all be cut right back right now. Okay, you leave them there all year. The landscape company doesn't do anything with them. They spray them for bugs. They don't have bugs. A lot of the foliage dies in the wintertime, and you cut it back in the springtime, and they come back with all this beautiful foliage. I do landscaping for a living, too. So come on, it is not beautiful out here at all. It's ugly. There's a dead tree, probably a river birch, right there in the retention basin, right out here, a big one. This is dead. I mean, is anybody paying attention? You need a Great American Cleanup Day to beautify the city. We pay a landscape company every month. And you guys don't notice any of this when you drive into here all the time? Mr. Mayor Cooper, you live right over there. Like, it is ugly. So needing a beautification day, you need it like every day. Okay? And to Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Rodolfo, the assistant city manager, he told me that during this day, he considers whether or not you're going to maybe build a bat house. That's what he told me. So maybe he can give an update.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, all. Rudy Rothside, and it's a pleasure to see you. Thank you all for having me here. My citizen comment on the last meeting was pertaining to some of our city planners. I'm sure many people in the room have received a letter, or if not, had read it in the newspaper and different news outlets. This is kind of what happens when we don't be on the front side of things. I was really hoping that we would be on the front side of this, but now we're not. And we are speaking on the back side of it, and it makes, to me, I've had 5 different city employees call me. They don't have my number. They searched out my number to say, thank you for coming up and speaking. I'm having a hard time in my job keeping my head down and keeping things moving forward because I am so disturbed about things that are going forward. That speaks volumes. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a job presenter. I'm a person in our community, and I guess people want to, because I'm up here speaking about it, they want to reach out to me. There were some very detailed things in that letter that were stated by Mr. Tabor that revealed a lot of things that I feel I've been bringing up as an influence upon our city behind closed doors. And we want fairness. You make a set of rules, everybody should play by the rules. I know how business is. Hey, I hire the Hickmans for do metal roofing. I love them. You know what? I give them first shot every time because you know what? They treat me well. They do right work. But I'm private. I'm private. I'm not public. I'm not government. And if we're having these type of things in our government locally, it creates a different environment than a culture that it's not going to help us retain quality employees. That's what we want. We want the best employees around. We have good health care. We have some wonderful attributes to our city. And we want to attract people, the best people, the absolute best people to come and work here and stay here. And when we're looking at people that were here for over decades, almost multiple decades, and they're quitting because of outside influences pushing into our city, that's troublesome. I would hope at some point we'd have some sort of moratorium on people who work on certain levels of the city. Once you get to a certain level of city and you go to outside contracting, you cannot come back and work and have contracts within the city. I think that would be
Thank you.
one way to help with those type of issues.
Thank you.
Very
Anyone
much.
else?
Thank you. My name is Jacob Fletcher, and I'm a citizen of Alachua City. So I was over at the candidate forum. Thank you, Mr. Potts, for attending. Mr. Corper, I wish you were able to attend to it. No worries. One of the things that I brought up in my opening statement during that candidate forum is our elections and election awareness. And so let me give you some of the stats on election awareness in the city of Alachua. So I've been door knocking for the past month and a half now, and 95% of the people I talk to, they don't know election is going on. That's concerning. How does, less than about 5% of people know that there is an election going on in their city? And when we talk more about it, we look at, say, what can the city do to promote these elections? And we can argue that the city can't spend money on it, right? We can't do it. But what I also notice is that the city has a social media site, Facebook. And since the proclamation in January, the city has posted almost 100 Facebook posts about various things throughout the city. And there was only one post regarding elections. So 1% of our social media outreach for the city is about elections. And I want to talk about that post. That post was right before candidate qualifications. It wasn't right after the announcement that elections started and that our early campaigning period was starting. If you actually look at the candidate application, the early campaigning period was listed as to be determined, yet they were handed out to candidates. So it seems like the city has an issue with awareness on elections. And so then the last meeting, you guys voted on home rule for not having elections in our own time. We want to hold our own elections on a random Tuesday in April versus when everybody knows to vote in November. And so we talk about home rule. But in the last 4 years, this commission has not passed any motions talking about home rule against other motions. And so we have a bill, a Senate bill right now, 1118, regarding the preemption of municipalities regarding agricultural land zoning for developments. Has that crossed your guys' mind on maybe we shouldn't be allowing the state to preempt us on that? Are we going to speak out on this? Or are we going to only speak out on things that, keep us in our seats? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, thanks for the time. I wasn't honestly planning on saying anything, but happened to walk in and hear that you guys are playing on Bradford Pears.
State your name for the record.
Sorry, Derek Dunlop. Anyways, I was just going to reiterate the fact that we shouldn't be planting Bradford Pears. So hopefully you guys can find a native species. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Mitch Glazer. All things good, Alachua. Yes, no more Bradford pears. For me too. You've heard me speak about landscaping in the city for many years. I do want to bring good news. The Gators have made the Sweet 16, so we're all good for that. Thursday, 7:39 is the tee-off, and so that's awesome. Siemens is 5 weeks out from opening at San Francisco Tech City. Their securities division is going to be moving out there, so that's awesome. What's also really cool about Siemens, we also signed an LOI, a letter of intent on a CrossFit. A gym is also coming to San Francisco Tech City, so that's exciting. Also, we have signed an LOI in efforts to really underpin a lot of the quality of life issues that I so vehemently fight for. We're getting a physical therapy center. Now folks won't have to drive all the way to Gainesville to do that. So that will actually help reduce traffic on our roads, which is a huge plus. And everybody advocates for that as well. And then we signed an LOI for a 15,000 square foot biotech, one of the fastest growing biotech companies that has been in our region for a few years, is actually signed to expand their facilities at San Francisco Tech City. Siemens, CrossFit, physical therapy, and the biotech. What's really cool about that is that 100% of it is run on solar. We're producing enough energy on campus to actually energize the entire campus, and we continue to do that. We're also on the verge of starting another 20 homes out there. We have completed 26 of them. Of course, they're all full, they're beautiful, and they're operating very well. The Alachua Dumpling Gang, about 20 of your citizens here, the most positive, energized group, made a trip to Jacksonville to see the Rod Stewart concert, and I thought that was pretty cool. Also saw Brad Williams last Friday, so a bunch of folks from here are energized to do that as well. I was on the Ilio Piedra podcast here recently talking about the wonderful things going on in your community, our community. Also, I spoke last week at a luncheon to the Alachua County Apartment Managers Association. When they came and toured San Francisco Tech City and saw the homes that we're renting out, they were just blown away and wanted to know more about the things going on up here. I also spoke down in Lakeland at the Florida Business Incubator Association, which was a great opportunity and a real honor for me to be able to showcase San Francisco Tech City and the fastest growing tech community in the state of Florida. Tomorrow is Cattlemen's Banquet. I'll remind you and everyone in attendance, it was Jimmy Carter, who I saw there in 1980, actually make his announcement as he was running for President of the United States. And then the Chamber has Ed Bilarski next Tuesday, April 1st. We'll be speaking at the Alachua Women's Club for lunch for the Chamber. I yield the rest of my time to you because I know you can't keep it under 3 minutes.
Perfect timing. Anyone else?
Good evening, Brian Bisher. Hi there, Commission, Manager, Madam Attorney. It's been a month since I have my request in for the document that Mr. DeRosa had supplied to the Commission relative to your all request about inventory for the Planning Department. I've received 2 documents supposedly in response to that. Neither one of them were accurate. Neither one of them were the document that you all received. I understand that 30 days is a reasonable amount of time. Typically, your clerk's office is very good on getting things to me within the 5 to 7 day period that they shoot for. I applaud them for that. But I'm wondering what my next step needs to be, right? I mean, it kind of sucks to have to bring a suit against such a little small piece of form, right? Just provide the information, Mr. Manager, okay?
Thank you. Anyone else? With that, we'd like to go on to agenda items here. And the resolution 25-06.
I have too many papers here. Give me a second. Would you go ahead and do your presentation? I'll read it when you're done.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Manager, Madam City Attorney, Rob Benetti, Finance Administrative Services Director. Recently, we received a check in the amount of $15,000 from the Chamber, the Alachua Chamber of Commerce. These funds were generated through their Sports Fest event and are, as many people know, the Sports Fest event is dedicated to enhance the lives of children and youth in our community. And as such, they distribute the proceeds to different entities. As such, we got $15,000 in order to utilize those in our recreation programs. We need to appropriate these funds, and the way to do that is a resolution and a budget amendment.
Thank you. This is the reading of Resolution 25-06, a resolution of the City of Alachua, Florida, amending the City of Alachua fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, recognizing unanticipated revenue in the Special Revenue Donation Fund in the amount of $15,000 and appropriating for related recreation program expenses and providing an effective date. This is the reading of Resolution 25-06 of the City of Alachua by title only.
Questions or comments, Commissioners? What's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, let me just openly thank the Chamber for this donation, because when it comes to our children, we must invest in them. So, Alachua Chamber, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your generosity, and we appreciate your support.
I'm going to echo, Mr. Chair, Mayor, I'm going to echo what my colleague said. We have a number of chamber members here, chamber members who are part of the Sports Fest Committee, and it's extremely beneficial. The Education Task Force and the work that they have done in identifying needs, and the chamber stepping up as a partner with this these funds, it helps. That collaboration helps us move the needle on supporting our teachers and administrators in our schools and our parents. So thank you, Chamber, and thank you to those who are here tonight representing the Chamber.
Anyone else? What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2506 and approve the budget amendment.
That's 2506.
Did I not say 2506? Yeah, 2506.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Would anyone like to comment on the motion on the floor? Commissioner Ringerson?
Aye.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. With that, we'd like to go to item B, which is support and staff extension services for Planning and Community Development Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Madam City Attorney. My name is Rodolfo Valadares, and I'm the Assistant City Manager for the City of Alachua. In response to recent occurrences, the Planning and Community Development Department has implemented the structured change management approach to enhance the department's operation and ensure the continued effective delivery of services to the community. The following are key steps that have been taken or are currently in progress. The first one, internal communication. A comprehensive communication strategy has been developed featuring regular updates from the Planning Community Development Department with clear messaging and open channels for feedback. This ensures that staff remains well-informed and engaged. The second point, stakeholder engagement. We have met with nearly all of Planning and Zoning Board members, gathered their input, and secured their support in the initiative that's being presented to you today for your consideration. Resource assessment. An evaluation of current staffing levels has been conducted, considering their impact on project timelines, budget, and resources. Based on this evaluation, a plan has been developed to address these factors and ensure effective resource allocation moving forward. The fourth point, request for tools and support. We are requesting approval for the necessary tools, resources, and support to enable our team to maintain continuous service and meet the service delivery expectation during this transitional period. And then the final point, ongoing monitoring and adaptation. We will continue to monitor progress, remain flexible, and adapt as needed. Feedback will be collected and adjustments will be made to ensure that the department remains efficient, effective, and sustainable for its long term. To ensure that services are maintained, we have engaged Jacobs Engineering to provide staff extension services. Jacobs Engineering has extensive experience in providing similar services to other municipalities within Florida, including the City of Bonita Springs, the City of Everglades City, the City of Treasure Island, and the town of Fort Myers Beach. Additionally, Jacobs Engineering is recognized as an industry leader in providing innovative solutions across various sectors, including environmental, infrastructure, engineering, and government services. Jacob is consistently ranked among the top firms in engineering and the environmental sector, including being ranked #1 in the top 50 program management and top design firms, ranked in the top 4 for top environmental firms, and ranked in the top 4 in the top 100 global environmental and sustainability consultancy. So staff recommendation is to approve and move forward with securing the professional services to support the Planning and Community Development Department by approving the task assignments with Jacobs Engineering Group Incorporated and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary documents.
What is the recommendation we do here?
Our recommendation is I'll read it again, sorry. To approve moving forward with securing professional services to support the Planning and Community Development Department by approving the task assignment with Jacobs Engineering and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary documents.
Questions or comments, commissioners?
Rodolfo, help me in layman's terms to understand post this contract. How does it handle the current workload and how is Carson supported in this, our remaining planner? Again, in layman's terms as much as you can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for pointing that out. I did use the word "we" quite a bit in that opening. We being our planning department, both Brenda and Carson has been incredible in stepping up. They have identified all the projects. We have identified the schedule, the timeline. It has been an honor to work with them. And so given our desire to sustain and continue to do the services that planning requires, we're asking for additional augmentation from staff. And so the task assignment before you is allowing personnel from Jacobs who is familiar with planning and development and has support with other cities to come on board and help us with our resource of people. And so they have proposed 2 personnel, and the first personnel, again, the task assignment is for them to, 1 person be physically in-house for 3 days a week to help support our staff. And the person that they're proposing is a Juris Doctorate. They have passed the Florida Bar. Activities include law review for senior editor and also supported the Women's Law Association. She received her certificate in American Institute of Certified Planners and is currently supporting planning staff. The second personnel that they're proposing has a master's degree in public administration, has a bachelor's of art in political science, and is a certified planner with American Institute of Certified Planners. And so projecting with your approval, they will come on board, we will get within our department, and we will start piecing out work for them to go ahead and pick up And the biggest next step is onboarding them, showing them how we, the State of Alachua, does development review, and reviewing their quality of the material that goes out. And so what this task assignment is addressing is the resource of labor.
Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Are both of them 3 days a week?
The way the task assignment is set up is we will have somebody in-house 3 days a week, and the other gentleman is going to be working remotely, and so they work until the job is done. It's really hard to say how much time it will take depending on the workload that we assign them. Okay.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I have to jump in here because one of the major problems that we are now encountering, especially when we have some items that are going to be discussed, contested, have people who are very interested in and want to come to meetings, is the legal aspects for the different types of items that are coming before the Planning and Zoning Board and the City Commission. And that is, we are going to be having contested quasi-judicial hearings. And there needs to be consultation with the city attorney well in advance of these things. We have to have an attorney to represent staff at these meetings, and these meetings are continually being scheduled with absolutely no consultation with or discussion with the city attorney to make sure we're going to be able to have what we need at a hearing. And it's continuing now. And it's something I'm going to address during city attorney comments. I can't find out when I pull up an agenda online on Thursday or Friday that there's a quasi-judicial hearing on Monday. I don't have an attorney to be there. We need to be able to have somebody to represent staff. I'm going to give you the best example when there was an appeal of an opinion of the Land Development Regulation Administrator. I had no idea. We've never had one of those before. I pull it up on Friday. I get to work over the weekend, and we come in, and I'm having to cross-examine someone from here. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So I think this plan is great and we need to do it, but we need to be working a month or two out and not just be saying, oh, in April, we're now going to have this hearing. Oh, okay. Have we gotten any things that are going to be controversial or contested on this? Do we need to be preparing for this? It's what caused the big problem when our planners left, is when something was called up and I'm putting this on the agenda. So we need to incorporate that into everything so we can do this in an organized fashion. And I will go into it in more detail because we do have some things that are going to be contested. We do have some things that we need to discuss because I am trying to avoid lots of years of very expensive litigation. And we need to be cooperating on this, and there needs to be communication, but it cannot just be setting something up and saying, oh, this is going to be in a week or two. And there's no discussion with the city attorney's office, which is me. And I'm not hard to get a hold of. I'm over here very quickly if I need to be. But that has been totally ignored, and it's causing a lot of problems. And it was a big part of why you had the exodus from the planning department.
Commissioners, comments on that?
I'm simply going to say I've spent 3 years in municipal government. I spent my entire career in the insurance business, and I don't want potential liability not being explained to me, representing the city, that our city attorney should be included in discussions that are quasi-judicial. I think that's simply common sense.
Well, I agree there's been a lack of that just because of what's happened, and by what we're going to do with this vote on this is going to clear some of that stuff up. So that's what why we should vote on this. We get professional people in here to get back on track which we got off track a little bit, so I'm looking forward to that.
Good evening, Commissioners. I wasn't planning on speaking on this item, but seeing as I am the one in the department who will be most affected by your decision tonight, I did want to throw my 2 cents into the ring. I appreciate Mr. Valderez as the Assistant City Manager stepping in as my interim planning director for the meantime. But frankly, I'm the one in this room that has the most planning knowledge and experience. And I want to make sure that you all know where our department currently stands, so that you can make the most informed decision about this. In total, a typical planner in your department for planning and community development would have about 5 development review applications under their purview. I now have over 30. I have 31. 11 under project assistance team review being circulated to different departments, 4 just on hold, 3 incomplete awaiting resubmittal, 9 in total scheduled for upcoming public hearings in the next 2 weeks, 2 currently in review for completeness, and 2 sitting received because I haven't gotten time to get to them yet. All in addition to the administrative tasks, such as over 50 permit reviews since the 3 resignations occurred, approximately 10 local business tax reviews, quarterly development monitoring reports that are required by our LDRs, site inspections for landscape compliance with their site plans, text amendments to meet your strategic initiatives in the strategic plan, and phone calls, emails, and walk-ins to the counter from residents who I'm here to serve. My concern with this item is that when a new planner comes on board, they could be the best planner in the world. I started here, and before I had an application on my desk, it was 1 month of simply reviewing our code. Every city has a different code, a different comprehensive plan, different goals. I have paused bringing in someone for 6 months to then lose all of that information when we hire someone permanent. This is not a sustainable method. Something needs to be done. I just want you to have that information here tonight when you make your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could speak, I would totally concur with what Carson just said, which is exactly the reason why we need help now. I don't want to comment on the resignations. We've beaten that dead horse. I will speak about that as well later. But I think the very statistics that Mr. Crockett points out spells out exactly why we need the help we are asking for. It is not a permanent or even expected to be a sustainable situation. It is a situation that we find ourselves in now. It was not a desirable situation, but this is what we are doing to try to make sure that we uphold a certain level of service and a certain level of standard of service as well. The hope is rebuilding this department from the ground up, hopefully with somebody as astute as Mr. Crockett to be a big part of that, and to evaluate that after a certain amount of time. But again, this is something that I am charged with, is making sure that the city continues to do business, whether those conditions are desirable, popular, or otherwise. My job is to make sure that we continue to offer these services and maintain these services. And this is an interim situation. We do not plan on having this as any kind of permanent or sustainable situation. Hopefully we can get out of this type of interim situation as soon as possible. But until then, I have to make sure that we uphold a certain level of services for the city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And yes, we do need to keep moving forward, but we need help with the planner we have. And this is, I think, is the best way to do that. Thank you very much. So, Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
I've got a comment. Carson, thank you for giving us that information, but I want to go back to our city attorney. citing some communication concerns. And I mean, that's vital in any organization. We must have communication.
And Madam, and Mr. Chair, I am going to go over this in a great deal more detail when it comes to city attorney comment, but because of what is being said here about what has been taken into consideration, there was absolutely no contact with me to see what do we need to be doing and how does this need to work. We need to be planning a lot further out what is going to be on an agenda so we can be prepared for that, and not that it's just dropped there and here you go. And communication is what we need to be having. I used to communicate with the planners on a very regular basis, and we would discuss a lot of things, and we would get things taken care of. I have been trying to give Carson all the backup he could possibly use on a daily basis, as much as he needs, so that we can go through things. Any planner is going to know the code better than the city attorney, because that's what they do every single day. And when I talk to attorneys at other cities, they'll say, well, my planners do that, and that's absolutely fine. But when it comes to it, legal interpretations of things, they do call me, and we do sit down, and we do go back and forth, because I'll bring up some other issues on the rules of interpretation and the rules of statutory interpretation, because our land development regulations are ordinances, and ordinances are the locally legislative laws of a city, and you have to abide by certain things. And that's why when you say a quasi-judicial hearing, when you're going to have, when you say a contested hearing, it's a hearing that a lot of people are involved in, and we know that there are some coming up. You know, it is a trial. You don't just throw one out there and say, oh, and we're having this trial in a week or 2 weeks. You need to be prepared. That's where I was. And I will be talking on those other things. I am very, very aware of litigation coming out of different things. And I'm very aware of anticipated things that may come up. And I have made people aware of it all along, as soon as I got an idea of it. And again, we will talk about it later on. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, so Madam City Attorney, in regards to this agenda item, although I understand you're going to go into more detail about everything and during your attorney comments, but what is it specifically regarding this agenda item that you would like to see?
I am not opposed to this agenda item. I was voicing the fact that when you were looking into what you need to be doing and looking at what's going on in the planning department, nobody ever contacted the city attorney to say, hey, what has something else gone wrong here? What's going on and what else needs to be anticipated and done in the future? That's why I brought it up here. It can be brought up again later. I just wanted to know there's an integral part that is being ignored, and that is what type of hearing is coming up? How far in advance are we going to be ready to address this? How are we more carefully going to put things onto agendas so we don't have problems and we don't have people being blindsided and saying, okay, enough is enough, and I'm gone?
Okay, so if I understand correctly, that's a different issue than this agenda item.
Exactly. I just said I'm in favor of the
You're in
item
favor of
because
this item.
I agree
Okay.
that there needs to be help. I think there needs to be realistic expectations, just like our planner Carson said. The first thing that person's going to have to do is spend a good amount of time reading our code so that we have realistic expectations in the beginning. We get a new attorney, a new planner. They're not going to be able to start cranking stuff out right away because, as it's already been said, every city,
I don't think anyone here expects a brand new planner to start cranking stuff out. I think
I
what
agree.
Carson said is completely correct and understood, that that a new planner coming in has to familiarize themselves with the city codes. I don't know that that's anything that's being debated here at all.
I'm not debating it.
But regarding this particular agenda item, although, yes, you have some concerns you're going to bring up during your city attorney comments, which is absolutely fine, but this agenda item, you are stating that you are for this.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask you what the proper protocol would be for making a motion on that?
Absolutely.
What would that be?
I don't make the motions. The motions
No,
come from the
I'm just
board.
asking you, what would be a proper thing to,
I
because
believe there should be a,
we recommend
We have-
approving
yes,
this?
we have it,
Yeah, okay.
Mayor.
Commissioners, what's your
Unless another commissioner wants to, I move to approve going forward with securing professional services to support the Planning and Community Development Department by approving the task assignment with Jacobs Engineering Group Incorporated and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary documents.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Would anyone from the audience like to comment on the motion on the floor?
Hi, Derek Dunlop. So I guess the gentleman here, and I guess I'm not much of a city planner, I'm more of a forest planner. And I guess the big thing when you're restoring a forest is what the gentleman said, you have to go in and mitigate and look back at the actions that you took. And I guess with here, not to beat a dead horse, but I don't think that you guys have looked at the actions that have occurred to reflect back and find out why you're in the predicament that you're in. And I think if you look really close, you'll find out that there's a little bit of either something in the soil or something ain't sitting right. But until you figure out what that is, to try to bring in an outside government agency to get your guys' job done or help you guys get one development through the door, you guys aren't looking at the core rot. And there is a rot, and people aren't happy, and you got these quasi-judicial hearings that people don't know about. But I feel like until you guys address and find out, there was no investigation of those 3 planners. I haven't seen one. I saw in the news that you guys just gave it up. So I feel like until you guys find out why they left, maybe you guys should go try to get them back. Because there's obviously a reason that 3 of your staff walked out. And until you guys address that, all this stuff, it's all for naught.
Anyone else?
My name is Jacob Fletcher. I'm a citizen of Alachua. And one of the common phrases that we hear is, we got to keep our service going. We got to keep the service going. The service, the efficiency of the service, it has to keep going no matter the cost. But who are we serving here? Because I know it's not the citizens that are posting on Facebook, that are talking, complaining about traffic. It's not them we're serving here. So when we look at this, we're trying to keep going. We're trying to keep this train, keep on going in this direction. But did we stop to ask if it was the right direction? So another thing is, we have one planner, and our planner has now stated that his current workload is way too much. And if we hire outside people, it will take too long to get them on board on this, and that it would take more time to get a person here, but it would be more efficient. But we're going to try and go forward with the bad solution because that keeps us moving forward in this direction that the citizens of the city do not want to go. So when we also look at this, what we see is we still don't know why our planners left. Well, it took a letter, and it seems like what that gentleman said, Mr. Tabor said, that the city manager was not letting them talk to the city attorney, is true. Our city attorney is talking about that, yet we're wanting to keep going forward in this direction. So I'm confused as why we're trying to keep moving in this god-awful direction when we don't know why we're in this direction. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling that we want to keep building, right? We don't want to make smart decisions with this building. And it's flabbergastingly frustrating to see us when we're saying, well, let's just go with the bad solution because there's people out there or in here that want us to keep building and doing stuff for them. I believe there was a gentleman who said he's a customer to the city planners. No, the city planners are there for us citizens to make sure the things that people want to do is right. And that's what you all need to be doing, is making sure that what you are doing is right for this community. Thank you. I yield my time.
Yeah, anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, staff, Tamara Robbins. I'm going to follow up with what was just said, that yes, in Mr. Tabor's letter, if you all remember, I'm sure you all read it, probably at least twice, that he said the city manager directed them, the staff, to not consult with the city attorney. Now, what is up with that? Ms. Rush is exactly right. Her job at $10,000 a month, maybe it's 12 now, is to protect the citizens from liability, the city, the coffers, right? And if the city manager is undercutting, you need to look at what's going on with your city manager. Because that is not the city manager's job. City manager takes an oath. The city manager's job is laid out in the city charter, and undermining the protection of the citizens of this community, he should be fired over that, in my opinion. And you should be questioning him tonight. What is up with that statement from Mr. Tabors? Is that true or not? The fact you want to privatize the planning department in this city, there's a saying that goes that when you're digging yourself into a big hole, you should stop digging. You guys just keep on digging. Because privatizing with a hand-selected engineering company, which no RFP, you know, back a few weeks ago when the planners all resigned, the three of them that did, you did a motion 5-0 to direct the city attorney to come back with solutions for an outside attorney to do exit agreements, exit interviews with these staff. Then when she brings back, she goes and spends hours doing what you directed her to do, right? She brings back a contract with a qualified firm to do that. You all acted like, well, we didn't direct you to do that. When did you direct the city manager to do this? I've been at the meetings. You did not vote to direct the city manager to go out and find a hand-selected engineering firm to privatize your planning department because you are so hell-bent on keeping your foot on the gas to destroy this city. And the quality of life in this city is continuing to decline. It is not pretty. It is ugly. The streets need fixing and the traffic sucks. And you are hell-bent on keeping it going. So maybe you should put the foot on the brake and actually, what do you want? Because you did not direct the city manager to do this. And there's no agreement here. Where's the public records requirement for this engineering firm? So you need to vote no on this.
Anyone else?
Tom Hubbard. Almost 20 years ago, I researched all the small communities around here. Best one right here. By far the best community. And I've supported this community for the last 20 years. I've backed y'all. And to see what's going on now, look inward. Don't look at the people who you serve, because you do serve the citizens of this community. And if you're not doing the right thing, back up, look in a mirror, and tell yourself to change. do the right thing. And I don't care what outside influences are pushing you. You've got a conscience and you've got a will to do the right thing every single day that you serve the citizens of this community. You need to do that. I've told a couple people up there, I'm looking to move out of this city because I don't like the direction things are going. I'm a good man, I'm a good person. I spent my life supporting community that I live in. And for me to have to say that I'm looking to move out of here, things are not going the right way. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening again, Brian Bisher. A lot of things to say, probably 45 minutes worth. I think one of the things is that I'm really surprised that this was on the agenda tonight because it was not mentioned at all in the manager's report 2 weeks ago. And yet the proposal, I believe, that you received is dated March the 6th. So why not bring it up then? Why not say that we've been looking into this? Why not report on, hey, we've done some interviews for planners, or we've actually looked for planners and we haven't found any suitable candidates yet. So I don't know how he's communicating that to you because it's not publicly. So is it in violation of the sunshine laws? That's really at issue, I think, is there's decisions being made behind the scenes, backroom deals. Backroom deals are illegal. Okay? Has been brought up, you know, I feel sorry for city attorney, sorry. You put her in the hot seat. You've gone past her, right? And so, yeah, you bring in a firm as a temporary stopgap measure, $180,000, 6 months, something like that. Maybe it's only 160. Yeah, what's 20 grand between friends, right? And it's going to cost you at least $40,000 just for them to get up to speed, just to know what's going on. And by then, you're halfway through their deal. Have you found somebody by then to fill the department? Is that what you're looking for, right? Or are you just satisfied to go ahead with them? Because as the assistant manager stated, you know, one of the people coming in-house has a GD, right? So is the city manager going to be consulting with that attorney related to these planning issues, right? I mean, it just leaves us up to speculation because nothing is being disclosed, okay? So, yeah, I think it's a poorly thought out solution to a very complex problem. There's never a simple solution to complex problems. I've been in business 40 years now. Never in my 40 years has a simple solution showed up for complex problems. And I've solved a lot of complex problems. Madam Attorney brings up the issues about there's going to be some legal things coming your way, right? Some of these quasi-judicial hearings are going to be contested.
Thank you, sir.
Highly contested.
Anyone else?
Good evening again, Rudy Rothside. 6 months, 160, 180,000 bucks to, I don't know, my projects never seem to go in a timely manner. Let's call it 3 months for they get up to speed. By the time you get up to speed, they're here for a few more months and then they're gone. And all that knowledge from what Mr. Carson just said is gone, right? Gone. And we jumped $180,000 to help us get us out of a hole that we got ourselves into. We're allowing outside pressures, outside influences to manipulate, to push agendas within our city hall. I question the contract as well. we have a contract with these guys in the past, Mr. Jacobs and Jacobs Engineering. I believe Mr. Rodolfo actually has previously employed by Jacobs Engineering. No? Is that I don't know. I might be wrong. I've been wrong on things in my life. And if I am wrong, I apologize for misstating it. When Ms. Marion, our attorney, brought up like relationships with different attorneys about the investigation, people are like, "How do you know him? How does this involve?" What's our relationship with Jacobs Engineering currently? How much are we already paying them? Are we allowed to just hire them without putting out a RFP, request for proposal? Is that legal? Can we do that without like saying, "Hey, who's best qualified for this position? Everyone come out, ollie ollie, let's say who's good for it," right? But instead, we're just, what's the existing contract that we're ponying on to? Is it an engineering contract? Because those contracts are very specific for engineering, not for city planning. Are these people who are bringing in, are they AICP certified? That is, when the letter I read, those are the things that made Mr. Tabor say, "Hey, I took an oath. Each and every one of you took an oath. You know what that oath means. I know the oaths I've made to my wife. I know the oaths I made, commitments I made to my family and other people in my world. I live up to those oaths as best as I can. I'm not perfect, and I don't expect any one of you to be perfect. But if we sign up for those oaths to say, hey, we gotta do ground penetrating radar before we do this project. This was brought to light. We can't just push that forward. Now we're going to try to just push it forward. Now we're going to pay a company to do our bidding. We already are paying money to. It just doesn't seem right. I don't know. Like, please look into this. Ask more questions. Why wasn't the money in the time frame asked by anybody? I mean, we all should be hearing that from you. Like, hey, how much is it going to be? How long is it going to be? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Mr. Williams?
Well, I would like to make one more comment here, because I would like to be fair as I can and bring as much fairness in for everyone to understand. This was a continuing contract. I actually called and talked to our contracts and risk manager on this, so I don't think that there is anything that is being done that is not allowed to be done here. And you have these continuing contracts, so you can get something done quickly when you need to, because they've been vetted when they got their original contract. So that I did ask about. And also talking about influence from outside the city or third party. Nothing that I have to say has to do with that at all, because I looked into that originally, and I did not find that there was anything improper being done by a former city manager then becoming a consultant. I looked in a lot of different places, and you're not going to hear me say anything that says there was something wrong there. What has happened is things that have happened internally, and that is something that has me very concerned, because I have been involved with a lot of these things in the past 22, almost 23 years, and there needs to be, to put it mildly, a lot more conversation and communication. But I wanted to get that type of thing as to the outside influence off the table, because that may have been what's at 30,000 feet, but that's not where decisions have been made. It's how we move forward. And I think this motion is trying to help us, because no matter what, you're not going to take a wand and go like this and everything's going to be okay. You do have to start going through something. That's why I wanted to say it. But I checked into the propriety of what has been brought forward. I did not find anything wrong with what was being done. So again, I want to be fair to everyone and try to give as much information to everyone so everyone gets an idea of what's happening. But that is why you have continuing contracts. I did not go back to look at the original contracts. I will be very candid about that. But I did look to see about that. And I'm not going to make any other comments on those because, again, we have a planner here who needs help. As long as it's understood that, people can't just come up with, okay, I can write a staff report in 2 weeks, because there's a lot to look at. And that we do look at what we have coming in because it's not going to be moved as quickly. And I'm sure there's going to be some people that aren't happy because things can't move as quickly, but that people can only do what they can do. Some of the things I've been reading on lately are talking about the stress that's putting on people when they're working all of these extra hours and how it goes in the other direction. And I apologize for talking so much tonight, but everything that's gone on here is stuff that has happened over quite some time. And once I read the letter, because I've heard a lot of things, but I was not going to come out and say anything if people are not willing to put it on paper or, in my business, say it under oath. And I'll say more about that later, too. Thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Brown? We made a motion in a second.
No.
No.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
No.
Chair votes yes. And a 3-2 no vote. So let us go to round 2 of comments from citizens on subjects of choice not on the agenda. If you didn't get a chance at the beginning and want to now, please do.
Good evening, Phyllis Strickland. I haven't been here in a while, but I just wanted to make you aware, if you didn't know, that Gloria Andrews passed away, and which Jackie Jones. She was a member of this Alachua Cha-Chas, and she was also on the Citizens Advisory Task Force, and she kind of like chaired the Alachua Community Coalition. So it's just sad news to hear that. So that we lost Jackie. And I also just want to say one word: transparency. Transparency. Oh, I said it wrong, but you know.
Many prayers for the family, please.
Pardon me?
Many prayers for the family.
Thank you.
Anyone else? With that, we're going on to comments. Did you not speak at the beginning? You only was proud to speak at the beginning or the second round. You spoke
okay.
at the very first one.
All right, well, thank you.
Yep.
Would you please recognize me? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Vice Mayor, Commissioners, thank you so much. Well, you have a tough job, and thank you for what you do. This is what anti-growth looks like, and so if the city stands up to it, you'll be just fine. If you don't, then we'll have long meetings, and this will continue to happen. On a positive note, I saw the city of Alachua got a $50,000 grant. Congratulations. That's great progress as things continue to move forward there. Let me see here. Ralph Seelan passed away. That is not a positive thing. He was I want to bring some history to a couple of these individuals. Ralph Seelan was a great Alachuayan, Floridian. He helped Alachua get our first infrastructure with regards to wastewater in Alachua. That has allowed us to have some of the growth that we've had. He was also very instrumental in Rolling Green becoming the Alachua Recreation Center, so it could support so many tens of thousands, probably hundreds, maybe millions now, over the many, many years. Fantastic human being, and he will be missed. Thelma Hammond, over 20 years ago, I remember her being in these chambers talking about the senior housing development and needing that for seniors in our community. And I believe she's still around. She has her own home. But I was just over there this evening at the Arbor at Merrillwood, and that looks fantastic. Congratulations. Those are some great things that are happening. And I do want to just put my support in for City Manager Mike DeRosa, Rodolfo, your staff. You guys do a great job. Running a city is not easy. Every city, whether you're High Springs or you're Newberry or other cities across the state of Florida, have people that get up and speak one way or the other. Thank you for listening to all sides. That is your job. So thank you for doing that, and do the best you can to proceed forward and keep Alachua going in the right direction, because there's a lot of positive out there, regardless of what you might hear. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, Commissioners, Attorney, Tony Love. I've been a lifetime resident of Alachua, 20-year employee at the COA. Me and my family voted for everybody sitting up there tonight. I'm sure you're aware how the media does. Media runs this country right now. This, along with the story of one individual, we have only heard from one person. We ain't heard from everybody. One individual is the reason we're where we're at tonight. This is not my feelings or my opinion. This is facts. I have personally seen many contractors, from the big billion-dollar contractors to the build one house a year contractor, in the city manager's office. I've seen residents in the city manager's office. Anytime you want to talk to the city manager about anything, he has an open door policy. I can say anybody that wants to has that available to them. I've only known Mike since he started here at the city, and I've known him to be fair and honest with anybody that wants to talk to him. I don't know his total job and all he's responsible for, but I do know how he treats me and my employees that work with me. He always asks us how we are, what he can do for us, what he can do better, and what we as a city can do better. Several times I've witnessed him dealing with aggravated members of our city and the public, and he's always been professional and courteous. The city manager, as far as I know, has no authority to approve any of these projects we've been talking about. That all comes down to the elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Damon Messina, Recreation Director, Recreation and Culture Director for the City of Alachua. I'm also a resident here. Several years back, I remember I wanted to have my dying breath here. Unfortunately, things didn't work out the way I was hoping for. I moved on from the city, and this gentleman right here gave me the opportunity to come back. And I got to tell you, right now, I'm living my best life. I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I feel where the department is going right now is by far the best it's been, in my opinion. You know, I don't know if it's a pleasure, but it was certainly an opportunity that I've worked under 13 city managers. I was a consultant for the city of Hawthorne, High Springs, Archer. Went through dozens of city managers, and even today I kind of see where some of the cities are going through a lot of challenges to this day. And I did it for about almost 20 years almost now. You know, I heard the word influence get thrown out. You know, I'm going to kind of stay in my lane as far as recreation goes. I speak to Mr. Hal Brady probably once a week. If I'm not calling him, he's definitely calling me. There's a gentleman, Harsh Jenkins, who I communicate with on a regular basis. I need these guys. I need to make sure I communicate with the people who have been there before. You know, quite a bit of mistakes have been made, but you know what Mr. Rudy said, you know, as long as we could, you know, learn from our mistakes and keep pushing away. You know, I'm very happy with the direction we're going as far as recreation. I see quite a few people in the audience here who does put themselves out there. They show up. I feel we're the, you know, we're the ones that you want to come see. We're the ones that kind of, I feel, we kind of protect the city. When it comes to the 4th of July, the MLK Day, any kind of event, we're the ones that are there. And I see quite a bit of people in this audience who do show up and put their time and effort into it. But I also see a lot of people in this audience who do not do that. It's a little bit frustrating. If you guys understand where I'm getting at with that. Because we do a lot. You guys put time and effort into this community. You guys do. You volunteer. Each and every single one of you I've known for years before you even stepped up here, with the exception of you two, and you guys have been here for the last 20 years. There's a lot of great things. We are the shiny house on that hill. And I want to keep it that way. And you guys have been doing that, and I appreciate that. Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments from city manager, city attorney?
As somebody said earlier, a lot to say. Mr. Bashir, I would love to meet with you after this meeting to find out exactly what you're asking for, because apparently the things that you have received are apparently missing that mark, and I want to make sure that we do that. I don't know in my 35 years of business that I ever heard that anybody communicates enough. And after hearing the comments by the city attorney, I want to commit to making sure that communication not only gets better, but it thrives. I'm not 100% sure about quasi-judicial meetings that nobody knows about. I know that there was one that was a contested LDR administration interpretation, I believe. I too was blindsided about that. You didn't hear that from me. I will tell you that over the last week and a half, I've vacillated back and forth over whether I would have a statement about the open letter to the commissioners, the mayor, apparently several media outlets as well. I just want to say this. Mr. Tabor's letter saying what I consider to be completely false and unfounded accusations that I, as a city manager, is or have been improperly influenced by anyone is not only appalling to me, but it's a direct attack on my integrity and my character. You're only as good as that. I'll stand on mine every single minute of every single day. But the fact is, since becoming the city manager of the city of Alachua, virtually scores of people, developers, engineers, business owners, prominent community leaders, CEOs, citizens, literally, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some of you who got up and spoke maybe to what Mr. Tabor brought up as opinions in his letter, actually, you are ones that I've actually taken calls from and I've returned calls to. You know that. They've all at one time either called me, met with me, caught me in the aisles of a local grocery store to either suggest, recommend, and or lobby for one thing or another. From my experience, from what I've learned in the last 4 years, that comes with the territory of being a city manager. Admittedly, and I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, but I extend the same courtesy and listen intently to every single one of them. But I will tell you that if any of those encounters ever results in someone advocating for anything that's anything less than what's best for the city of Alachua, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. It goes in one ear and right out the other. Further, I'd say to suggest that I make any decision based on anything other than what is best for the city of Alachua, regardless of whether it's popular or gains consensus. To suggest that is not only wrong, it's ridiculous. As I said, I vacillated over the past week and a half about whether or not to respond to Mr. Tabor's letter. And the last thing I will ever do, whether it's in public, from this dais, out meeting somebody mowing my yard. The last thing I will ever do is try to tear down somebody else's character and integrity, even if that is what is actually happening to me right now. In my opinion, Mr. Tabor is one of the most knowledgeable employees that I have ever had the pleasure of working with. To this day, I still feel that same way. The most puzzling thing about this letter to me was of the numerous times that the planning department has sought my direction as the LDR administrator. As long as we all agreed on what that direction was, things and our rapport seemed great. On the contrary, of the few items that were addressed in Mr. Tabor's letter, those are the only occasions that I can ever recall that created tension between me and the planning department and myself during the 4 years I've been city manager. As I said, I will commit to communicating better. There's been things that were said in that letter, things that are being said tonight as taken as the gospel. And I don't know if you could, in a court, be able to say that without knowing. And again, I'm not here to try to convince anybody of what Mr. Tabor said or what I'm saying. But something was said tonight about influence. I'll rest on that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City of Alachua has a contract with Robert A. Rush, PA, and in that contract, I am designated as the city attorney, and I can have somebody else from my office come if I can't be here, which I think happened maybe once or twice over 22 years. I am usually here. This is the 4th city manager I have worked with at the City of Alachua, and I can say I believe that he has the best interests of the city in mind, but that there are a lot of things that are now coming up that are a little bit more complicated. I mean, there's a lot. I've learned a ton in the past 22 years. When I became city attorney, my brother said, if you're going to do this, you're going to become a specialist. So I got my board certification, and I'm recognized as a specialist by the Florida Supreme Court in city, county, and local government law. And I say that because there are things in front of this city that this city is being confronted with right now that need a lot of specialization. And that specialization is not within the knowledge of the city attorney, and nothing can be in the knowledge of city manager, I'm sorry. And no one's going to have all of that information. There are a certain group of applications that are coming down the line that I made the city manager aware of in 2022. I cannot discuss those all in detail because some of those will come in front of this commission as quasi-judicial items. I'm going to explain a tiny bit about legislative and quasi-judicial, because legislative are the ordinances and quasi-judicial are when you apply them. And that means this commission or the Planning and Zoning Board is acting as the judge. And they can only make their decision based on what is placed in front of them, which is why I am very careful about what I'm going to be saying here. But the items that are coming forward are all inextricably intertwined. They are very challenging, and none of them stand on their feet by themselves. When one of those items, well, the first one that was put on the agenda, I had no idea about it. It went through. When I say that is, no one has talked to me ahead of time. The first time I've seen it is when it is already on an agenda. The second one, which is one that will only go to the Planning and Zoning Board, and that is the Tara April special exception, I can talk about a little bit because it will not be coming in front of this commission. if there's an appeal of that, it goes another route. I'm not going to be giving any legal advice here either. But I was very surprised when that showed up in an agenda. We immediately got letters from the county and everyone else. Back in 2022, I advised we had a meeting because I had advised the city manager about all these things coming down the pike. None of them stands by themselves. There's problems with this. And we had a meeting with them. That meeting had all the planners, the city manager, me, applicant, consultants, attorneys who were there, land use attorneys, all there. I let all of them know you are dealing with the most sensitive piece of property in Alachua County. Well, probably, if not the most. There's going to be a lot that happens here. Nothing is going to be easy. There's going to be all types of objections to this. I made that very clear. And as it's coming down, when something that was involved in that got put on the agenda, it would have been nice if I'd known it a little bit ahead of time. It would have been nice if we had had a meeting that said, how are we going to do that? It would have been nice if we had a meeting that said, who is going to represent the staff at this? Well, when all this came up, I realized there's a meeting that we're not prepared to go to. And I suggested to the city manager, I said, we need to pull it. He listened, he did it. I mean, this is not just to say negative comments about the city manager, but where we are is because there needs to be a lot more pulling together than what has occurred. Because once it was pulled off the agenda, we met with developer and county. I don't know if someone from Speological was there. I mean, there's a lot that are going to be objecting to this. It did not get very far. We then again met with, I went to the city manager. I said, do you want me to see if we could get David Theriak involved in this? David Theriak has been involved in our most complex, difficult land development and planning and zoning items. Another really important thing is that back in 2015, when we were doing the Walmart Supercenter, there were objections all over the place on that. And we got Mr. Theriak involved. That involved one building. That involved one hearing, which was the Supercenter, one building. It was going to be on the other side of 441. We had the hearing. It was passed. They didn't like what happened. They filed a lawsuit. When there's a lawsuit between two public entities, you have to go and have mediation under Chapter 164 of the Florida statutes. So we went and did that. It didn't work. We went back into litigation, and then we went to mediation and got it done. Yes?
We're going way back like 10 years ago.
Yes, because
So
it is related to what I'm talking about. It is related to a quasi-judicial hearing regarding Millsink, which is what is coming down the pike, which is what got scheduled. We were told it was going to be scheduled on January 23rd. I got a phone call from the city manager late in the day, and I was told that he had decided to set this for hearing on February 11th. I almost fell over. I then asked him, can I please get Mr. Theriak on the phone, because he had decided to do this and did not even care if our attorneys were available. I then got Mr. Theriak on the phone, and we called back, and we were like, we could not possibly be ready to have a contested quasi-judicial hearing, a full-blown trial on that date. Mr. Theriak said, can we do a special hearing? That's what we did back in 2015. We looked at our calendars. I think we came up with February 24th or 25th. Mr. DeRosa said he had to look at his other home calendar to let us know. He called me back and said, and I said, can I get Mr. Thierek on the phone? He said, no, I'm going to still think about it, but it was I believe, the last day to be able to get ads out for that. At that time, as you all really recall, at the last commission meeting, we were deep in the throes of the Carroll litigation and trying to get all that done, and we had this dropped in the middle of all of this. We were in no way prepared to do a quasi-judicial hearing on that. But the reason I'm telling you all of this is that we are trying to coordinate how we are doing this. There are 5 applications involved here, not one. That is why I'm referring back to the one that we had in 2015. That was one hearing, one litigation, one 164 mediation that you have to go to. I think I counted, we may have a minimum of 8 different hearings that may all get appealed, that could all go into litigation, yet the rug is being pulled out in front of us. Now let's go back to what has been going on here. When we finished having this meeting, the first meeting with the developer, people from the county, someone from Theological may have been there, I'm not positive. We said, we've got to get this organized. And we decided, and we talked to the city manager and said, this needs to be done attorney to attorney. And I said, let Mr. Theriak take the lead. He's the most experienced in all of this. We had someone from the county attorney's office and all of that. And we did an email with opposing counsel there and said, look, we want to just do it this way. Mr. Theriak also said in a letter, I'm not going to contact your client unless you allow me to. And they said, fine, as long as you copy me with the same thing. Well, about a week or 2 after that, we get a letter from the opposing counsel who is demanding that this be, there was a letter, Mr. Theriak's emails were like October 21st. Immediately after that, then on November, we get a letter demanding this be put on a hearing. And I got to look in this one to see. Starting to say that they have vested rights. One of my biggest concerns through all of this has been you don't go and do one little thing here and one little thing here because developers going to say they have vested rights. And I think there's a couple of people on this up here who have been in planning and zoning and have heard me describe. You have your upside down megaphone and where they start trying to get something done and they get vested rights. So we want to be very careful of how we proceed, that we are not granting this here and this here and this here. Now I'm going to mention the thing that nobody ever wants to hear about again, and that is Heritage Oaks. Because when we had a trial in that over a subdivider agreement, and even though we filed a separate motion that said they should not be able to talk one iota about phase 2, it had never been brought before any board. It had never been approved. Judge let that come in, let them put up damages from it, all of that. And that is to say that once you let things get out of your own gamut here, you don't know what's going to happen in court. So there is a legal thing called promissory estoppel. And they're going to be saying, we did all of this and we wouldn't have kept going if you hadn't led us on to think of this, even if they didn't have an approval. So these are the things that I am concerned about. I can go beyond both hands with the numbers of hearings and litigation and everything else that can happen. I can look at a minimum of 5 years happening. Now, nobody likes the county coming in and telling us what to do, okay? I acknowledge that. We have a lawsuit going on right now because of that, because of how they amended something. but we need to try to work things out, which is what we have done in the past. The problem is that when the city manager said he wanted to review everything before it went out, we said, okay, we got along. And so when David was responding to this November 15th, I sent an email to him and I said, I literally just got off the phone with Mike going over the highlights of the letter. He approved it. Happy Thanksgiving. This was November 26th. We then get another letter. And on December 19th, on January 16th, the draft of that letter is sent to the city manager. We want to be able to respond to this. To this day, we've never gotten a response from the city manager on this letter. He was asked twice. There's another item that has come up, and I don't want to go into all of the details, but we're not getting information back. We can't function like this. This is the most complicated and troubling matter we've ever had here, and we've had a lot of them, and we've been able to survive through it. But we have got to be able to have a wall that we are on this side of, and we don't feel that way. Your legal does not feel that way. Well, we cannot get responses. From January 19th, there's another matter where Convergence came in. They're building, they came in for the cottage homes and all of that, and we negotiated a great deal. We said, let's hire Mr. Theriak, and we got Convergence and Brian Crawford to foot the bill, even though they're representing us. Except we got 2 inquiries from Mr. Theriak in December and January, both saying, Mike, can I give him the draft of the revisions I did? Still haven't heard about it. In the meantime, now he was here at the last meeting, and, he's saying, I don't want David, I'm not going to pay for any of David's bills anymore, so we're going to need to get some more advice on that too. I do not understand this, but just calling and saying, I'm putting this on this agenda, and then all of a sudden, then it didn't have to go on the agenda. I mean, I worked all that weekend too, saying, how in the world can we do this? We have to be able to work together. And on this particular one, as complicated as it is, and we need the best people we can get. The other thing that I do want to put out here is that, yes, do I think David Theriak is probably the best or one of the best land use attorneys? He is. We're lucky to have him. He charges us half price. He has a master's degree in planning too. So he is great to be able to help us with the planning and do all of these things. But at this point, how do we go forward where we can't get any information? How do we go forward? I mean, I am going to request that let's move this one project. Let's have somebody else that's going to have time to deal with this. I report to this commission the exact same way that the city manager does. So let me be handling that. Let Mr. Theriak deal with me and let me deal with this commission. I will give you updates at every single meeting. That will take that off of his plate, and that lets us go forward. We've got to do something here, and we cannot have any more quasi-judicial hearings being set that we have not discussed a few weeks ahead. We've got to start planning way back here. Because I've been told today, and I'm not going to go into names, of another thing that's supposed to be going on in April that should not go on in April. And I will communicate that to the city manager. I want to be fair. I haven't told him about it yet, so I'm not going to go and talk about it here. But we have to look at what is going on. We have to have things done in a organized manner. I mean, I'm going to be very candid because I'm going to say anything I say here, I would say to the city manager in person, just like I also said, hey, I want to be fair about that. I looked at that other contract and all of that. But he's the fourth city manager, has the least experience, and I hear from him the least. It should be the exact opposite because this stuff is technical. It's not, run of the mill. Do I think this man has the best intentions? Absolutely. I think that he tries to look out for staff, make things as good as he can for staff, but the things that we are dealing with here are things that have momentous ramifications if we do not handle them correctly. And that is what I am upset about. Do I care if I'm not invited to a party? Heck, no. That is not I'm not somebody that wants to be in every picture. I'm not somebody that has this great big self-image, I just want to get things done for this commission. And representing a public entity is a gigantic balancing act. And when I was looking at taking this job, I talked to one of the senior partners at the firm I worked in Tampa. And he was the city attorney for Treasure Island. He
Mr.
knew
Mayor,
more about
Mr.
real
Mayor,
estate.
I think the Madam City Attorney has made her point very clear. I think we need to move forward and let the city manager respond.
Okay, well,
I agree.
well, I am going to ask for some direction too, but go ahead.
What would you like me to respond to? That was quite a bit of, I don't know how much more I could say. Like I said, I will commit to more communication. What I don't want to do is get into a debate. I don't want to do that. I don't think that's healthy for any of us in this room. There have been times where I felt like that. I don't want to take a whole lot of time. I just will tell you this. With one application that she's talking about, that was not only on an agenda in September, coming up on an agenda on September, it was on a recommendation for approval. Emails were sent by at least one of the planners that no longer are working here, sent to the engineer of record and the applicant. City attorney is certainly, saying the truth. We got letters from the county. I did not agree to pause because any other reason other than I was facing something I'd never faced before. County was getting involved with something. I have since
Mr.
learned a
City
lot.
Manager.
Well, I'd like to finish the point.
Okay.
I was asked to reply. And so at that time, I agreed, let's take it and pause, okay? When I made the decision to put that back on the agenda, it was, I'm here and I don't answer emails, but I know on two separate occasions after meetings with the planning department and David Theriak on Zoom and the city attorney present, I held them both back, one digitally, one physically, and explained that I had some heartburn with holding something up for 6 months, okay? That started in December, after Thanksgiving, because I did approve the letter that Mr. Theriak did send. But the more time that passed, the more I started, again, I'll accept being wrong. I'll accept making bad decisions, but, as far as somebody influencing me or anything of the sort, I felt like we were being held hostage. And I don't want to throw any other municipality under the bus, but I felt like we were being held hostage. And on two separate occasions, I made my point clear that I felt like out of all of the things that were going on in all of those developments, which I still am probably in full agreement with the city attorney on all the other things, the The Terra April special exception was going to be the only one of the entire development that has no map cave systems, anything that we were talking to the county about. Nothing was there. It's basically stormwater retention basins, and it's actually going to address the concerns that the county had and some of the other affected parties, that it's actually going to be treating water that is currently not being treated. Again, I think somebody said earlier, whether I'm saying, listen, 6 months is long enough, we can go forward with this application. That is only a recommendation to get it to public hearing. I know there's at least one planning and zoning member that's in here, and this may not help my case, but I will tell you, they will tell you that I have rare, if any, contact with Planning and Zoning Board because I don't get involved with that. So if there's some, and again, you spoke kindly about the lack of influence, and I thank you for that. But if there was something I was trying to push through or the city was trying to push through, would the influence stop at the planning department? Would it not have to continue into the Planning and Zoning Board because I got to make sure that gets voted in, and then after that I would have to go, again, Terra April special exception wouldn't go beyond the Planning and Zoning Board, but on any other development application it would have to go to the commission. Therefore I would have to carry that same lobby to each of you. And I don't want to speak for you, but I think you will say that I've never, not once, talked to you about how you were going to vote, how you should vote, or what you should vote on. That's never taken place. It's never taken place with the Planning and Zoning Board, and it will never take place. I don't know what else you want me to reply to. I think the city attorney has made her overarching point very clear. It's up to us to figure out what that is. I want to work with her. I want to try to make things better. But there's been a lot of things that are said here that, not necessarily by her, but tonight, just it doesn't hold water.
Let's move on from this.
I need to respond to this, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I think that in all fairness, the city attorney has had plenty of time to make her point, and that it's time for the commissioners to be able to make comments if necessary.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I have never in my entire life been so infuriated by what just transpired right now. The city attorney is completely out of her lane, completely completely being an activist. The city attorney is there for one job and one job only, and it is not to advocate for or against any development. The accusations, I have never seen such a character accusation of a person in my life. The accusations that have been laid out here, we are not in a court of law. And it forced our city manager to have to defend himself in this public meeting. And that is absolutely ridiculous, and I will not stand for it. That is uncalled for and above and beyond her scope of work. I think if this is the first I've heard that she's never been told about certain meetings. The last time I checked, she works at the will of this commission, and she knows she can pick up the phone and call any one of us. She's never told me that there was a quasi-judicial hearing that she's never been told about. And for her to sit here and air this out without telling us, without confronting the city manager in a one-on-one meeting is despicable. And I will not have that happen in our city. Has our city manager had to start from the ground running when our former city manager resigned? Yes, he did. Has he made decisions based on what he thought was best for the city? Yes, he has. Is he perfect? No. Has he made some mistakes in some of his decisions? Sure. Haven't we all? Last time I checked, all of us in this room put our pants on the same way. We are all human. We are all I am not doing this for the money. I am not doing this for any title or recognition. I am doing this because I love this city. And for people to sit here and make false accusations without any proof And to make accusations just to hear yourself speak, and to have our city attorney sit here and do what she did is unacceptable. And if I've made some of you mad, so be it. I know that when I took this job, I was not going to make everybody happy. But I will tell you one thing. I sleep good at night. Every decision I make is I think I try to do for the best of this city. There are meetings that I have with DOT and other things because I am trying to do what's best for this city regarding traffic and managing how we build this city. Growth is coming, and I understand that it needs to be managed. And I am trying the best I can. But Mr. Mayor, what just happened is uncalled for and reprehensible. Thank you.
Mr. Ringerson.
Mayor, well, I still want to comment also before I do my comments, because I'm going to also, I mean, this has been happening for some time. I do believe that people are coming in here and they are not telling the truth. So, Mr. DeRosa, can you answer the question from the last city meeting that Mr. Bisher said he did not receive the same document that all of our commissioners got, that he did not receive that? Did he receive the same document, yes or no?
Mr. Mayor, the document that you're asking me about was when we were first informed about the three planners. Myself, Assistant City Manager, again, I want to make sure that nothing I say is insensitive to these three people. I care very much about them, okay? But I had to put my head down and work. And the first thing that I knew to do was to take an inventory of everything that was in the planning department. At the time, Kathy Winburn, the Director of Planning and Community Development, gave me a document. It's the document that you received, dated, it was incorrectly dated or stated at one of the meetings, I can't remember, but that it was January 29th. It was actually, and I think you all still have the document, it's January 27th. That was the first and only document that had ever been done as far as a full inventory, because we had not had to do that. We've had, we have planning sessions that we always talk about and game plan what's going on in planning, but until we had 3 leave within the matter of 3 weeks, we had never had a situation where I had to get a full context of everything. Even if it was 6 months out, I needed to know what was going on. That's what I gave you. That's what I was requested. That's what I gave Mr. Beshear. Following a meeting, I want to say it was February 24th. I don't quote me on the date, but I believe it was at February 24th. Mr. Beshear would be able to concur. He approached me, asked me for that document that I gave the commission. Okay, maybe there was a mix-up in what he understood me to say, but the only document that I had ever given to the commission was the one on January 27th. I think you all know that. Since then, and I'll
Mike, so the answer to the question that I'm asking is yes. He received the same document that he said he did not receive.
Not only did he receive that, but Mr. Valadares meets with the planning department, like he stated earlier, on a weekly basis, and they go through now, which is kind of a regular report that we didn't have before, and he received the latest, greatest update to that. Again, I would certainly give Mr. Beshear the time after the meeting to clarify what he's asking for. If I have not given that, if it's a public record, I'm giving it to you. There's no other reason not to. So the answer is yes.
I mean, that's just some of the things that, for me, for yourself, Mike, for us, well, I'll just speak for me. I'm tired of the negative and the insult to us up here on the dais, okay? We're speaking freely. Taking money. You guys can look at our bank accounts. We put everything public. I don't know where this is all coming from, but as Ms. Williams just stated, I'm tired of it. And so when this comes forward at the end of comments, I am going to continue to ask the questions, because I'm not going to leave this meeting feeling like people in the audience are coming and lying right to us, and then I have to ask later. I am going to continue also to communicate the lies. One of the comments was also brought up about the greatest American cleanup. Some of you have never seen it. It's one of the best events we do here. Children, youth, people in our community get shovels and dig. I dig with my fellow commissioners. Comment about the police department and the flower beds and everything. I pulled all those weeds out with several other children. Where are you at? Come. I've been to baseball games, softball games, coached here for 20 plus years. I'm giving to the community and care about this community just as much as every single one of my peers up here. But to continue to keep slandering us and what we're doing, it's not okay. I'm tired of it. I would like to also for you to answer about the meetings and why we don't also publicize our meetings, please. Or at least give the insight of why we don't do that.
Okay. It's very simple. First of all, it's not required by state statute, but that's not what I want to arrest on, okay? Because you notice we had 2 public comments at every single meeting. That also is not required by state statute. It is what we do, okay? Other communities have been pointed out, well, they can do it and you can't do it, and you're not doing it because you can't afford it. That's never been spoken by me or anybody else up here, okay? The main reason that they're not streamed right now, okay, other than it not being required by state statute, is that there's an ADA compliance that needs to be met, that other cities, just because they're doing it, doesn't mean that they're complying, okay? We did the research. We found out how much it costs to do that. And that versus how many times we get a public records request for a video of our commission meeting, it was not a return on investment. Anyone can make a request for a video of our meetings, and it's turned over within 48 hours, okay? That's why. I mean, it's an operational thing. If the commission, as a legislative body, if they are hell-bent on streaming our commission meetings, I will not get in the way with that. But it will come with cost, and so just know that.
Do you want me to now do my comments, Mr. Mayor? Or would you? I'm done with what that is. We can continue with comments. Would you like me to continue on my end? This Saturday is opening for baseball and softball. 8:15, 8:30 is ceremonies. Great American Cleanup, which is fantastic. I'm working on 3 different high school organizations to try to get some more youth involved and make it fun for kids. I have worked with the O2B kids in Alachua and Susan, I believe, to try to get flyers. I know that today we did the proclamation. I'm hoping that we can go ahead and get some flyers and get things posted so we can get other people involved. It's a great morning for the city and for people around, just to continue to see things that you might not see when you drive to work every single day, okay? Chief, continue to keep us safe. Tomorrow night is the Cattlemen's Dinner. Hopefully a lot of people will attend that great event. Enjoy probably the best steak I've ever tasted in my 40 years. There was one other thing I was going to mention, but now it's went out of my head, so that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My thanks to all of the citizens for your comments. Mrs. Strickland, thank you for bringing that to our attention. As a matter of fact, I had it in my notes. I think it was Pam Philman that told me about the passing of Mrs. Andrews. So on behalf of the city, I sent a plant. And we'll be praying for our family. My last comment is, regrettably, we did not perform or go forward with the inquiry. I really, really think that may have answered some questions. And Commissioner Williams, I was just upset as you were tonight that we didn't vote for it. I'm just going to be honest. I think it's time for all of us to look at ourselves and evaluate where you are, what you want, what are your goals, what are your aspirations for this city. Tonight, everyone saw that we've got some issues. And the only way we can solve them is to address them. They must be addressed with transparency, honesty, integrity, and the love for the Good Life community. I serve on this commission because I love the city of Alachua. It is not personal. It's about what's best for this city. And right now, what we're doing is not best for this city. It's got to change. And it changes with us. We're the leaders. You voted for us to represent all of the people, not some. And I say to my colleagues, we've got to turn this around. Look inside yourself. Evaluate yourself. I am so disappointed at what happened tonight. I am saddened that we didn't display civility tonight. And I hope this never, ever happens again. And I'll say this one last thing today. I met with the city manager and I said to him, we've got to improve our communication. Let's do it. We can do it. But we can't do it if we don't work together. We're the leaders and we need to act like the leaders. We need to perform like leaders. I love this city. We moved here in the 1970s. I taught school here. We raised our family here. And if I didn't love it, I could go someplace else. But I love it and I want what's best for the city. We've got to do better, all of us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Fights between families are never good, but they're usually not public. And tonight we had a public fight. It's not attractive. But there are pieces of what the city attorney said as somebody who spent their life in the financial services and insurance business, that when there's information, especially in regards to quasi judicial, where we could become a party to a lawsuit, and as your city commission, we are potentially liable. We need to know about that. It's important. If we're going to be sued by multiple parties, that's taxpayer money. We need to protect taxpayer money from, if we're pushing forward an item that potentially has us being sued by multiple parties, we need to be talking about that with our city attorney. I mean, that is her job, right? Her job is to protect us and to protect the city against potential liability. The rest of what was discussed, I don't know. I meet with the city attorney regularly. So there was not a lot there that surprised me. But my main concern is when we're talking about items that can potentially put us in a liability situation and cost us taxpayers money with no guarantee that those items will pass the Planning and Zoning Board and the City Commission. The risk is still there for us to pay a lot of money to defend something that may not even come to pass. I think it's information where the two of them have got to work together, and we need to be advised of that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams, I agree with you 100% what you said. And I like the level that you said it at. Mr. City Manager, I'm standing behind you 100%. We talk on a regular basis. I know you have concerns about things that go on, and I also have concerns about when I go out and every day and meet many, many people, and they're constantly asking me questions about the city, what they're doing, is it legal, is it not legal, is it what else is coming up, and everything like that. I do not try and BS anybody. I'm going to tell you the truth. If you don't like that, tough, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you the truth. And what I hear tonight, and I've heard other times, is people coming up and saying what they think is right and what is wrong. And really, most of the time, they don't have a clue. A rule and a business rules and regulations are that big. Our rules and regulations are halfway to the ceilings, and we have to follow every one of them, or we get in trouble. And if you don't think that's a problem with having that many rules and regulations and having trouble having to adhere to them, that's what we do. And if you're going to come up here and say something, please have it understood what you're saying is the truth. Because I have not heard the truth a whole lot in some of these comments. And I think that when you try and tell somebody what's going on and they still don't want to hear it, that's tough. But I've been here for 50 years. I've volunteered a lot in the city of Alachua with all the schools and different things. I've organized and started different projects that we're still doing today, way back in the late 1900s. And I want to say I love what I do, and I want to be the best I can be. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I will continue to help the city of Alachua as much as even if I'm not doing this in the future, I'm going to be working for the city of Alachua, doing the best we can. And it makes a huge difference. And I just want people to try and understand before you get up and criticize, know the truth. Thank you very much. And with that,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
we have motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?